Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Barbecue Roundtable. I'm Jason Hardy, Elite Barbecue Smokers. We got a great guest tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. This will be one you truly want to stick around to the end because there's going to be a lot of good things, conversation about it. We may get some secrets out of this man. Mr. Ryan, introduce yourself.
My name is Ryan. I'm pitmaster and owner of King's Barbecue. We're located in St. Augustine, Florida, and we do food truck catering and then competition within the Florida Barbecue Association, KCBS.
How long you been cooking, Ryan?
Well, I think I'm just as very similar to other Southern young boys. We grow up cooking with our dads. If you're in the South, we'll barbecue for any reason. So I grew up, cooking with my dad and watching my dad. But in 2014, I guess I got bit with the barbecue bug when my dad and I were watching Barbecue Pitmasters together. And I thought I can cook just as good as those guys. And I quickly found out I could not. But that's how I got started.
It's definitely humbling going out there and cooking it at home and then doing the first barbecue competition. You're like, holy cow.
Yeah, you got to have some thick skin. When the first competition I did, the first sanctioned event I did, I got next to last in ribs. And I honestly thought I made somebody sick. I was worried.
I know I turned a rib in one time that was not good, and I didn't get last. And I was sitting there talking to Michelle, got it back in the truck on the way home. I said, I've been cursed before by turning really good food and not winning the contest. But this time I got cursed. I got blessed the other way is turning really bad food and not finishing dead last. Because them ribs were just not good. I totally screwed them up. But it's just crazy how that whole system works sometimes.
I think you got to fail. I think if you want to succeed, double your rate of failure. I think you got to mess up. You got to learn. One of my biggest mistakes. I was cooking for a friend's birthday, and I didn't know the difference between garlic powder and garlic salt. So I put garlic salt regular with my own salt on these ribs, and everyone in there thought it was a weird profile.
You've heard the story about me with Greenwood many years back. Buddy of mine had cooking with me. So y'all have been on the show. You probably already seen this. So we was doing competition down there in Greenwood, South Carolina. And this was probably, 2017, 2018. Anyhow, at the time, we were making our own rubs. We wasn't buying these rubs. We were making our own rubs. So I had a recipe in the trailer, and I'm doing getting something ready or whatever because I didn't know no better. And so I was prepping everything on site. So I told Clyde, I'll throw him under the bus. Clyde, if you're watching, I'm throwing your ass under the bus right now. Yeah. So I told Clyde, I said, take this recipe, go make our rubs. So Clyde go in there, he makes it. And so every rub's going to have sugar in it, pork now. It's going to have sugar in it. It's going to have brown sugar in it. I had a little bit of cayenne to it to give a little bit of a kick, just a little bit of a kick to it. Well, I'm not sure what happened. Anyhow, I was sitting there, hadn't tasted anything, rubbing all my meat, pork. I use the same rub on my pork, my ribs, and my chicken. We sitting there getting ready to do turn-in for chicken. I pick up a chicken and bite it. I'm like, oh my God, have mercy. What is going on? I'm sitting going like, what in the world? Yeah, we just put 6 in the box. I'm thinking I got one piece of chicken that got heavy-handed on, but just turn them in. Go taste ribs. God bless America, man. I'm biting that rib. I'm like, what the devil is going on? And so I bite this rib, and I'm sitting here trying to drink a quart of Mountain Dew at the time because I'm needing something other to clean my palate. And we start doing it, and then all of a sudden I taste pork. And I'm like, all right, we messed up somewhere. So we started looking back at it. Clyde had mixed up my recipe and substituted cayenne pepper for brown sugar. So there's supposed to be 3 cups of brown sugar and 2
Oh,
tablespoons of cayenne. There was 3
oh,
cups of cayenne and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar.
oh,
And I'm sitting there
Lord.
like, I mean,
Those poor
anybody cooking
judges.
Greenwood that year to hit that table we were on, I'm sorry, we killed the table. I know we we're gonna kill the judges, but it's just that we sit there and he messed it up. It's the funniest thing in the world now. It wasn't then.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
yeah, that was whenever we was making our own rubs at contest. That was nuts.
You gotta, yeah, but you gotta go down that road. I think if you're not failing, you're probably not trying hard enough.
You know, when was I used to have a construction company, and I used to tell my guys all the time, come out there and they come back to the office and once a week or whatever, and I come in and tell them, say, all right, what did y'all mess up this week? And the first few times I've done this, they look at me like, I'm not telling you what I messed up because they didn't want to admit to my failure.
Yeah.
But yeah, the table probably did love it. We didn't finish dead last that day. That's the crazy part about that contest, about that turn-in. So anyhow, I'm sitting there and I tell my guys come back in. I said, "What did y'all screw up this week?" And the guys looked at me kind of funny. I was like, "What did you screw up?" And one day the guy's like, "Why do you keep asking this question?" Because here's the truth about it: if you're not messing up, then you're not giving me 100%. You're playing it safe.
Yeah.
I need you to go out there and just go at it. And I expect you to make mistakes. I want you to make mistakes. I want you to figure out how to do something better. I said, because if you want to be explain the concept to you, there's a backhoe sitting right there. The backhoe is sitting there for one reason. Some man got tired of digging with a shovel and he said, let's get that backhoe. It can make life easier. And so they designed and built a backhoe. And that's it. And that's kind of what I want you to do is come out there and be willing to try to experiment and to improve on. Because I think that's the biggest thing with growth is just to fail.
Yeah.
Um,
I couldn't agree more. And I think, the more we, in barbecue at least, the more we venture off and play with different flavor profiles, make your own rubs, make your own sauces, and see what happens, and put yourself out there. I think a lot of people would be surprised about the results.
so I think people need to be willing to get outside the box. And I'll say this to anybody that's not competing, that's watching the show here, is to understand that I think number one, best thing to do is come out here and become a judge and go judge a few contests. At least understand the flavor profile that's being presented as being successful. But take that with a grain of salt because during the COVID years, we say it now, it's like a long time in the past, but we had the series down here in the Carolinas, um, the Rufus Teak series. We're doing them all over the Carolinas. And we had some guys that come out here from Texas and stuff to cook in the East Coast because the only place they were having contests at the time was right here in the Carolinas. And so Lee Hickle, good friend of mine, he come out here and is competing, but he's bringing that Texas flavor into the Carolinas. And he was successful with it. Now, he's a good cook. I ain't going to take anything away from him, but it was just something other, just a little bit different. Just a little bit different. It kind of helped him stand out. And I think that's really a good thing to think about is I think sometimes we kind of, as a competition cooks, we're trying to say, I'm gonna cook for that judge. I'm gonna cook for that judge. And we get into this groove, and then next thing you know, you got some guy over here that's a little bit different coming in here. Speaking of a little bit different, we got this one right here. It's a perfectly example of a little bit different down at Poosie Q. Love you, man. But it's just a flavor that's a little bit different than all of a sudden other. Next thing you know, it puts you kind of to the next level. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something other to be not scared of. Adam right here is a perfect example. He's been cooking for a year or so, and he come out there with just stuff here just a little bit different and been successful.
Yeah.
Now I'm not sure who Ryan Brody is. You know Ryan Brody?
Well, Brody is my dog, and he wants me to bring
Oh,
him in here. But Brody can't come in here because he want to chase a cat. So my office is on the other side of where Brody is allowed to play.
okay. Well, speaking of which, here's Dolly. Hold on a minute.
But yeah,
Sorry about that, y'all.
Adam has he's been doing well. Adam his I mess with him about his pork process sometimes, but he scores better than I do.
I mean, he's cooking good food.
He does.
It's barbecue bingo, baby.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you got to get the right card and you got to hit the right tables.
But we all know that. We all sign up for it. I know that it's a pain in the butt. I know some people have posted some stuff on the internet recently about some of the judging, and I've been there. I've been there, and I've gotten nailed, and it does come down to what table you get on a lot of times. Carrie Chastain told me something one time, and it's always stuck with me. You got to cook good enough to give yourself a chance if you do hit that table.
So I would say we've had this conversation a little bit on some other things, but I will kind of say this again. Whenever you start looking at a competition, it is three parts. Number one, needs to have a location, so it needs to have an organizer. Number two, it needs to have a cook teams, so it can have teams come out and cook barbecue. Number three, it's got to have judges. Without either of those three pieces, it falls apart. Mm-hmm. Now, if you don't believe me, you go out there and you cook a contest. You're going to do per just random people coming out there. You ain't going to have a clue of what profile you're even going for. Mm-hmm. At least with the judging that we have in the KCBS judging, I'm gonna say the primary example right now. At least we got an idea what they're going with. Mm-hmm. At least we know kind of like at least a direction to go in to hit that. And I appreciate that. What they do there, what the judges do, it is good. And I'll also say this, and I believe this with everything about me. Because that's me. I come out here and cook food before and it's not been perfect. And I turn food in and I get upset because I didn't get it scored good whenever the fact of the matter is it didn't deserve to get scored very well. Mm-hmm. But at the same time I've turned in food that I felt like was mediocre and it scored well. So you got to take the good and the bad with it. And if you get blessed with a table and do very well and you turn in good food, then be blessed for it. But when you get hit bad, you got to understand, maybe that's kind of like the little ebb and tide kind of balancing itself out.
It's yeah, I did have a good pork weekend last weekend, but it's tough. There's times where it's going to be a crapshoot. There's times where it's not going to be a crapshoot. I just go back to what Carrie told me that one time. He said, you just got to cook good enough to give yourself a chance. Cook good enough to where your cold barbecue tastes delicious, and we're and we can't please everybody. Everyone has a different palate, right?
That's true.
So it's just it's just one of those obstacles in this sport that we love so much, and we take it hard. We take it on the chest because we work so damn hard and we spend so much money and we drive a lot of windshield time. But I'd do it tomorrow. If I could, I'd do it every weekend.
And I think that's the case with everybody that's got this. I mean, quite frankly, it's an addiction. I mean, the same ball game is because we enjoy the competition side of it, but we enjoy hanging out, socializing side of it. We enjoy the competition of it because the fact of the matter is, everybody that's competition barbecue is pretty much going to be A personalities. They want to just be a go-getter because there's not a lazy person barbecue. It's not happening. And we just want to go out there and just do it. So, but if you take all of us, take away from the competition side of it, and you're like, let's just go hang out at campgrounds and camp all weekend, we will kill each other because we're going to go crazy. We've got to be doing something.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot to it.
Yeah. I think the barbecue family, the fellowship, there's nothing like it. If you're a backyard team out there and you're thinking about doing a comp, don't ask questions. Don't worry about what to do. Just go do it, and there'll be enough people there. But the fellowship of that community is great. Um, I love Adam. I love Carrie. I even love you. But when we get to a
Me?
competition, I'm sure y'all want to beat my butt, and I want to beat y'all. But I love y'all to death, and I love the fellowship we have.
Well, I think um, the thing that makes barbecue a little bit different is, yes, we're competing against each other, but the truth is we're not competing against each other. We're competing against ourselves and trying to get that judge to like what we turn in. It's not like you're
Mm-hmm.
doing a NASCAR race where you trying to see where this person's going, because I promise you, if that was the case, it would be a whole different factor. But we're turning food in, and then we don't have a clue of where we done until later on.
Yep.
Um, Sean, so
Got
this is a
Shane Burnt
question,
checking in.
sir.
We got Shane Burnt checking in.
Yeah. Um, so Sean, here's what I will say about to look at this in this perspective. The best way to understand this is to go judge a few contests. And so when you judge a few contests on your paper you got there, start writing down the times when the trays actually hit your table to be judged. So chicken, you'll find out chicken's gonna be at probably about 11:57. It's gonna be right around that time because as soon as chicken gets done, it goes right back. Ribs gonna be kind of probably maybe closer to 11:59, a little bit later. And also another, or not 11:59, 12:28 or whatever it is. But yeah, what I'm saying is that when you start looking at it, because if it's a smaller contest, I'm gonna say 25 or less teams, it's gonna start doing it. So what happens is when this window gets turned in, they got to reshuffle the tables for everybody don't get the same box on the same table, and it kind of just starts slowing it down, slowing it down, slowing it down. So when you hit brisket's going to be after the turn in time a little bit. So that's something that if you do judge a contest and you see that, that'll start making a little more sense of what of this turn in times and how it affects different proteins.
Yeah, I think the biggest discrepancy is when you go to the Royal. You literally have to overcook that brisket because it's going to go back there and it's going to sit and it's going to sit and it's going to tighten up. I think if you cook your brisket like you would do at one of our local events, I think it'd tighten up on you.
Really? So you think it's that long at the Royal, even though they're not
Well,
shoved around boxes?
yeah, like I was told one time that the Texas cooks will do pretty well at the Royal because they've learned to really push the protein pretty far with their contests over there. Because the contests over there, the judges have to use a plastic fork, and
Yeah.
so they really have to push that meat farther, so it's very very tender. And you'll see a lot of the Texas teams do really well at the Royal.
That's
Just a
probably
theory.
why mine didn't do good at the Royal. But I mean, I think it's just I think flavors and competition barbecue is changing. I know it's changed the last 4 years. I think right now, at the end of last year, whenever we got the gas prices went up and COVID started kind of going away, we had some old judges come back out and some new judges not judging because of the price of fuel. I think at the end of the year, it started changing the flavor profiles, and you see it in a lot of people's scores. Who were doing very well at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year wasn't, and who wasn't doing very. I shouldn't say it that way, but those people progress to doing all of a sudden at the end doing very well, and I just think that's what some of that changed a little bit.
Yeah, I think some teams will get on a hot streak and
Yeah,
they'll hit they're hitting with the judges. Their profile at every competition they go to is just clicking. I mean, smoke me silly, man. They will go to. I can't tell you how many contests I've been in. They're if they're not grand, they're up there. And their profile was just. I mean, it seemed like everywhere we went last year, they were hitting.
yeah. I mean, but they done the other thing about them is if they were doing so many contests, they got into a groove.
Yeah, Yep.
And whenever if you're cooking, if you take your chicken, you cooking the chicken the same weight chicken, you're doing the same ribs, same weight ribs, or whatever. Pork's the same, brisket's the same weight. You start getting to that little groove, you start getting to the little process. It comes muscle memory. Now it's another. You have a less chance to make a mistake and fail because you have done it so many times. I mean, that's the best thing about doubles. As much as I hate them, as much as I hate the doubles, best thing about doubles is you can actually get into a groove and say, okay, I messed up on day one. What am I going to do better on day two?
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
At the Royal, that happened to me, man. That first day with the Invitational, I was, I screwed up. I made mistakes, and I was mid pack. And then the Open, I was 26th out of 505.
yeah.
And I think you're absolutely right, Jason. I think you start doing a lot of contests, man, and you can get into a groove where you're cruising.
Yep. And that's the thing. That's a lot to be said about that. And that's a lot to be said about doubles. It's kind of getting tweaking it because you can practice at home. And I practiced chicken this past weekend. It was horrible because I'm sitting there screwing with this, messing with this, trying to work on this. I got 50,000 things around here I can be working on, and I'm not sitting there looking at that drum like I would be at a competition. And therefore, the practice is not a true practice, so it's not accurate. But I was trying to do different flavors, so it still give me an idea of flavors. But at the end of the day, it wasn't as accurate as it could be of something I need to do a competition on.
Yeah.
Um,
I think one thing that benefits me is the amount of cooking that I do, and how I in my food truck I will implement some competition techniques just to keep me like a muscle memory. Um, I switched my briskets to cooking on the drum, and for the month of November and the month of December and all the way up into January, I'm doing all these food trucks and all these catering events. I'm cooking these briskets on the drum just to see how that direct heat is affecting it. Is it scorching it? Is it, how much color do I need to give it? And I think cooking these food trucks and stuff like that just enables me to cook a lot, and it helps me. And I think with competition barbecue, I think cook as much as you can. If you can, like practice. And you're right. If you're going to practice, you got to try to dedicate it to legit practicing. Build a box, do the steps. But you're right. When you're at home practicing, too many things can get in the way.
Yeah, I mean the best thing about practicing, if you're gonna practice, you're not gonna do a competition practice. You actually practice. Um, Go rent a campsite, a campground. Go there and just cook barbecue and give it away to the campers.
Mm-hmm.
Get some other teams together and just do a frost buster.
Mm-hmm.
We've done those a couple of times in the past, and just get some guys together and taste each other's food and share information. And you'll be surprised of how much more information you gain from that. But just go out there and try. That's the biggest thing is be willing to fail. And if you're at home cooking, you're doing this, try a brisket at home and try this. So let me ask you a question talking about that. I'm assuming you're not cooking Wagyus for your food truck. I'm assuming you're probably doing primes.
Well, I cook prime now. I was cooking blacks, and the only reason I was is because the price of brisket went up so high, went up to like $5.50 something a pound. Well, blacks were $7.59 a pound. I'm like, screw it, give me some blacks. But no, I cook prime on my food trucks.
So what's the difference whenever you start cooking on a drum and you cooking on a food truck and you're doing a practicing on your food truck for your food truck and you cooking on Wagyu? Not necessarily. I know there's a lot of difference between them, but at the end of the day, what's the biggest difference you find in tasting the two at the end of the day?
I think, well, it's funny you should mention this because this past competition. So let me back up. Typically, I do Snake River Gold. That's what I use. And
Right.
a competitor, I heard a competitor say on the video that a black, he didn't think the judges could probably tell the difference that much. They were still pretty close, and that was my opinion too. And then last weekend, I did a black with my same recipe, and I scored just a couple points lower. I scored 173. I was 11th. But I think with prime, it doesn't have that richness. It doesn't have that wow. It just doesn't have it. And I cook a good brisket for food truck. It's a great product, but but there is a difference in Wagyu versus prime.
No, I mean, there's a big difference between the two, and I'm not trying to say there's not a big difference. What I'm is saying, if I'm gonna start, and I've done a video, I'm gonna hopefully have it released here in a little while. I cooked a Wagyu to a prime,
Yeah.
and what I will say on the difference is that if you cook them right, and you cook them right, and I have competed against guys and gotten beaten when I'm cooking Wagyu and they cook them primes. So I mean,
Oh
I'm
wow.
not saying that that a prime can't win a contest, because a prime has won a whole lot more contests than a Wagyu has over the years. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the Wagyu briskets is what's now is the best quality meat there is, and therefore that's why they're doing very well. But at the end of the day, you still got to cook it right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can cook a prime perfect, and you go out there and take a prime, you cook it absolutely perfect, you get the burn ends off of it. The burn ends on the prime is going to beat a Wagyu burn ends any day of the week, because the fat and the golds, well, not golds, the fats in the A9s, the fats in State River Farms, the fats and all of that is not going to break down like they are in a prime brisket. A
Yep.
prime brisket, the fat and that point's going to break down better, and you actually have that true burn in taste you're looking for.
It'll be a
Um,
much better texture too.
yeah.
Uh,
And so the burn ends part of a prime is going to beat a Wagyu. But when you get that slice, if you hit the slice, if you cook both of them absolutely perfect, the fat is just like a ribeye steak. You get a
mhm,
good ribeye steak with a good fat, and you can slice it, and it's juicy and it's tender, and you chew into it, and that fat helps complement that flavor. That's gonna give you a better tasting ribeye. Whereas
mhm.
if you get a choice grade that's got so much sinew in it, it's like shoe leather, it could be the best fat in the world, but it ain't gonna taste right.
Yeah.
And so that's when I think looking at the difference of it is. But if you cook both of them perfectly, and you go head to head in both of them perfectly, now you're talking about the difference between the flavors. And
Mhm.
the flavors on there is something that can be different between a hickory salt or a garlic salt,
Mm.
right?
I, 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 if you're talking about between prime and gold, now there's just I can't. The only thing I can say is it's almost like uh, a more rich flavor, a more buttery flavor, a more ribeye flavor. I don't know how to explain it. It's just a better flavor than on a prime, in my humble opinion.
It is a better, man. That's why they cost so much. Um, they're better flavor. But what I'm saying is, understand, if you understand how to cook a prime brisket, you can compete in competition barbecue, and you can compete, and you can go out there with enough confidence to actually do very well.
Mhm.
Um, but once you start getting confident into it, and you move up to the Wagyu side of it, and to go blacks or golds or A9s or whatever it is, you'll find out that you've learned the technique, and now you can take this and bring it up a notch. And you say, now, because here's what the Wagyu does give you: you have to cook a prime perfect to do good at a competition in brisket. A Wagyu, you don't have to do that, because it's got extra flavors to help overcome that. So if you are off the game a little bit on a Wagyu, you have forgiveness where you can't have that forgiveness on a prime. Would you agree with that?
I, I do agree with that.
I
I
know it's
have.
kind of
I think with because of that flavor, that gold. If it's slightly overcooked, if it's slightly undercooked, um, that flavor is going to be in there, and it won't be in a prime. And I also think um, that the texture the tenderness. That's a big thing right now. I think you told me, not to get off on a tangent, but we were talking one time. We thought that tenderness should be scored higher than flavor
Oh
because
yeah,
it's harder to attain.
and it's something I can control.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying that the flavor shouldn't be part of the scoring process. Not saying that at all. But I'm saying that appearance I can control, tenderness I can control, flavor I can't control. Because I mean, Donnie Bray had in a class one time, and probably one of the best classes I've ever taken. And he had it in the class, and he said in there, he said, "You want your food to have flavors that can complement the meat, but not stand out and overwhelm the meat." He said, because the
Mhm.
example is this: if you like the taste of peach, so you put peach in whatever pork you cooking. All right, fine, you turn it in there. But let's say you get this one judge that don't like peach, likes apple. You give them
Mhm.
peach, they're gonna kill you because they don't
Yep.
like peach. So you can't have your meat to kind of be any one piece that's going to overpower everything else. You need to be there, but it needs to be subtle enough that they can enjoy it. And that's where I think flavor is. I think the
Mhm.
flavor again, um, it's going to be, do you want it spicy, you want it sweet, you want it smoky, or what's what?
I think that flavor. I think judges want to taste that. Oh, we all do. If we all had a choice, we're going to choose that wagyu. Um,
Yeah.
and for all the new teams out there, you got to remember it's a points game. You can do really well in three categories and then do okay in another category and still be up there. So the getting a prime brisket, you can still compete and you can still score and be up there with the rest of them. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be discouraged just because other pro teams out there are spending a lot of money on brisket. Don't and not being able to afford a $300 brisket. Go ahead and go out and buy that $70 brisket and compete.
Yeah.
I think you'll be
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised.
I think that's the whole thing. Is just, but you got to get there and be willing to try,
Yeah.
be willing to go, and practice on a prime at home. Understand what your smoker's gonna do. I mean, textures will be different. You have to totally learn texture differently, but at least you can see the color, you can see the flavors, you can see how it's going to cook on this smoker. Do you need to put a water pan underneath it? You need to put it on a rack. Do you need to put something between it to kind of protect it? Because when we started cooking in 2000, well 2010, but about 2012, we kind of had gotten really serious about it, and so we started cooking on cabinet smokers. All right,
Hmm.
so the cabinet was a water smoker, cabinet smokers. The whole purpose of that was, okay, I'm going to use all my meat to protect that brisket top shelf. It's getting the
Hmm.
heat at the top. It's going to settle there. So I'm going to be stacking my meat in here like a ladder. So I'm going to go over and it runs like a snake up and down. And at the top of my brisket, call my brisket the heat and to cook. And that's what we used to do. Um, I'm a big fan of the blacks, Snake River Farm blacks. I like the consistency of the blacks for me personally. I feel like that I can get the burn ends off of kind of a prime. My slices has got the more of the gold side on, and I can really turn in good food and been very blessed with that. So that's why I like. But again, I feel like it's got to be protected a little bit.
Hmm. Mine, I'm a gold guy, and the reason why I like Snake River Farms Gold is I've scored well with them. The burnt ends in a gold, like you said, due to the fat content, they are hit or miss. This
Yep.
past weekend and the weekend before, I didn't put burnt ends in, and I cook them every time, planning on putting them in. But if that fat's not out, do not put that in the box. You will not score well because your slices can be delicious, and if they take one bite of a burnt end that doesn't have the fat all rendered out, you're dead.
Turn what's in the box is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'll tell you. Turn what is good. Turn that. Don't turn if it ain't good. Don't put it in the box. Um,
Kerry just put it perfectly. The biggest score spread is brisket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they'll go from 180s and 170s to 160s and 159s real quick.
I wish they would change the system and do pork first turn in, then do brisket, then do ribs, then do chicken. Because because it takes more time to make a pork box than anything else. I think if they did that, I think teams would be able to have time, would totally blow the judge's mind with pork boxes. Because there's so much more that we can do with a pork box than we do any other piece of meat there is. Because you do FBA. I mean, you talk taking, like, if you see what FBA turns in, SCBA turns in, you turn it to a KCBS judge, you can blow their bloody mind. Yeah. And it's not that the judges don't know how to judge barbecue. It's just because we don't have time in KCBS to build that Picasso box.
Yeah. Look at what Robbie Royal does with the pork box. I mean, he'll build a pork box and you'll think that he has like 12 people back there helping him, and it's just him. Yep. And you couldn't do that in the KCBS if you tried. I mean, it's just too many moving parts.
Yeah, you don't have time. Whereas if you had pork first, all of a sudden you got pork first, man, you could take some time and build that box, get it right, turn it in, and you can really showcase your skills on the pork box. Yeah. Now, the thing about KCBS right now is, again, what I said before, turn your best six in. And I think of all the meats, that's really changed pork more than anything else, because rather than turn in the tubes, the pulled, the bacon, the money muscles, the little cubes and all that stuff, and turn in a full box, we're turning in just money muscles or just tubes or just money muscles and tubes. It's like almost kind of getting so much less in the box than it is. The other thing is that I think it hurts brisket, because by the time they get the brisket, some of the boxes that are full boxes, there's so much food in there, it's kind of, they've overeaten chicken, they've eaten too much ribs, they've eaten too much pork, now some brisket, and it's such a heavy meat that it's kind of, it hurts us a little bit sometimes.
KCBS, well, in any box, you only want to put in there what's going to be good. And me, I've never scored well with only money muscle. I've scored well with money muscle and tubes and money muscle chunks and bacon. But if there's too much because I'm typically a solo cook, it's just me, and for me to part out everything and because that pork box is a marathon, and you're scraping fat, and you're having to taste everything. The biggest thing is taste. That's it. You got to go through each piece and taste it and says, is that good? Is it overcooked? What does it need? And I wouldn't know what to do if I had, horn and tubes and bacon and loin meat. It would just be too much.
It would be, but I think it would showcase the skills in pork.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
So one of the questions, kind of like we put out there on social media here, is like favorite wings. It's Super Bowl weekend, getting ready to be right here at Super Bowl weekend. So what's your favorite chicken wings?
Well, me personally, I like spice, and I like a little heat. I'll tell a funny story. I lived in Maryland for a while, and my roommates took me to this sports bar, and they were known for their buffalo wings, and they had two flavors. They had hot, and they had hot. And so I asked the waiter, I was like, so what's the difference? He's like, don't order the hot. And I thought he was being a little bit dramatic. I'm like, relax, it's just a hot wing. I was like, all right, bring me the regular hot. So I ate it, and it had some spice. It had some heat to it. But I told the waiter when he came back and checked on me and asked how I was doing, I said, why don't you go in the back and tell the cook when I asked for some hot sauce, tell him to put some hot sauce on it. And I thought he knew I was joking. And and during this period of time, I was single. I wasn't married or anything. And so he comes back with 2 cute bartenders and a whole bunch of people with a shot glass of the hot sauce. And he's like, "All right, big boy, let's see what. Go ahead, come on." And I can't back down because there's all these people watching. So I shoot that hot sauce down. Man, it had ghost pepper extract in it.
Holy crap!
And I never felt the inside of my body heat up like that. It didn't hurt my mouth. As soon as it hit my stomach, it was just like, and there wasn't an amount of milk, beer, water, or anything that put that fire out.
Really?
It was not good. It was not good. To answer your question, I like a hot wing. I like a buffalo wing.
Oh, you still like hot wings?
Oh yeah.
So Bearded Monkey put up PB&J. Is he talking about peanut butter jelly wings?
Oh, please say no.
No. You saying peanut butter and jelly wings? This is not. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah.
PB&J.
Tell Paul I said thank you. Yeah, I had a good weekend last weekend. He's serious. He's serious with that peanut butter and jelly.
All right. We're gonna have to get this on. You have to get this on the show sometime. Cause I got to get some more information about this peanut butter and jelly stuff. I've seen a burger competition. They've done honey and peanut butter, and actually done very well in burger competition. And it was actually good. I tasted one of them.
That texture peanut butter just doesn't sound like it worked.
I wonder if they frying them. I wonder what it'll do.
I don't know. Thought of peanut butter on a fried chicken wing and eating that, I can't get past that.
I'd have to try that. So I'm trying to think about this. So you dip them in peanut butter and jelly, then you dip them, use that as an egg wash, you put them in the flour, then you drop them in the fryer and you fry them.
And the sugar will burn up.
Well, I mean, I reckon so.
Yeah.
It'd have to. I had to try that. He said he'd make us some here. No.
I guess I know who's coming on your show next.
I don't know. I'm about ready to see him on a live stream right now. Get him on here and figure this out. Here, let's see if we can do that. I don't know if anybody get on here. Peanut butter and jelly is a sauce, and they come out of the grease.
I don't know, bro. Man, he's a hell of a barbecue cook. I'm not sure if I'd eat that
though. Hey, here's a link to get in. Just you got to explain this, and if you want to come on show, I've never posted this link in the middle of the show, but if you want to try to come on this show right now and explain this when you're welcome to it, that would be kind of interesting. Lemon pepper garlic butter is my go-to. Yeah. That's a good wing. I really have to say that's a good. We got Kung Pao. Man from South. I can't speak like that.
These are wings though. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You're starting to see wings now a lot more in KCBS boxes. I think with so. The trend from Loot and Booty and Brad with getting basted. I think it's they're starting to trend. I think we'll start seeing those a little bit more.
Here you go.
Here we go.
We got it going on now.
All right, dude, I serve them in the restaurant all the time, dude, and they are a bomb hit.
All right,
so you deep fry the wing, and then you toss them.
You do your wing normal, smoke it, marinate it, whatever you do, deep fry it. And then, like when you take your wings out, you put your sauce on it in the bowl or whatever, You do the peanut butter and jelly the same way. You take a certain amount of peanut butter and a certain amount of jelly, and then the kicker is you add a little bit of hot sauce to it, to your sauce, and you just let them go on there. Just toss them and let it go, man. We sell them all the time. I've won.
What restaurant is this?
How much money I won with it, but I've won enough.
What restaurant is this?
I work at Market 27 down in Avon Park.
Market 27, Avon Park.
Yep.
Where's that Orlando?
That's right at the southern end of Central Florida, going towards. If you ever heard of the 12 Hours of Sebring, I'm about 15 minutes from that track.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I would have never in my life, if someone said, "Hey, put peanut butter and jelly on this fried chicken wings," no.
All right, so back a minute. So you just do a normal breaded beer or buttermilk fried chicken wing, right?
I do a smoked wing, and then we'll fry it. I won't put it. It'll be a naked wing, no batter, nothing like that. Just a naked wing. You can either smoke them and dump them, or you can smoke them and fry them, or just fry them, and then you just make sure the sauce is warm. Just like you do your regular barbecue sauce, and then put them in there and go. Next time we're at a comp together, I'll bring some and we'll make it. I'll make y'all true believers. I promise.
Oh, I'm not. I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to do this on YouTube. That's what my mind's thinking about right now. I'm thinking this is going to be something that I need to put on YouTube just to try it.
Right.
So I'm just kind of getting an idea. So your sauce is just regular peanut butter and jelly. It's not thinned out or anything like that.
Nope. You're thinning it out with your hot sauce in the peanut butter and jelly stuff. Now, if you search it online, it'll tell you to use like rice vinegar and fish sauce and all that. Don't waste your time. Just use peanut butter, jelly, and whatever hot sauce you like to add that little tingle at the end, and make it however you choose. It works.
Asian peanut butter sauce coated with hotter Asian.
It gets kind of like that, yeah. Like you ever gone to a Thai restaurant and had chicken satay on a stick where they give you the peanut dipping sauce?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but you're adding a little more sweet to it with a kick on the back end.
You gonna be in Greenwood?
Festival Discovery, probably.
All right. Carrie asked everybody in there. How about the Swamptoberfest in Georgia? You gonna be at that one?
No, I'll be in Lake City that weekend.
No, it's not the same weekend. It's 2 weeks before Lake City.
Probably not, because I have one of my sponsors has a deal coming up. I'm gonna have to do some stuff there.
Okay.
Talking about weird flavors at Lakeland, my mom made a dessert. She got a 180, but I brought my buddy with me, and we were talking. We saw how Mr. Monkey here put Blues Law raspberry chipotle on biscuits.
Yeah, dude, It is the crap, man. Put it on your Chick-fil-A biscuit.
We put a drizzle of that over this chocolate dessert that my mom made, and we popped the 180 with it. So,
oh yeah.
Dude, you know how many dessert awards we won last year with that sauce? More than I want to tell you.
Man,
of course, everybody knows now, so I guess it's no secret anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's still people got to be willing to try it. It's one thing to know it works. It's another thing to go out there and say, "I'm gonna try this today." Because I mean, cheesecake wins.
It does. It wins even better when you put raspberry chipotle on it.
This was a chocolate lush that my mom made. It has some cream cheese in it. But she was proud of that little button, man. She wore that to church. She was sporting that thing. That was a proud mama.
Oh man, dude. So, did you ever get that big trophy from BBQ back home?
I did. It sat in my trailer for probably 5 weeks or so. It actually won't fit in my house. It's sitting on my mom's Florida room right now until stuff happens. It's actually going to transfer. I'm going to display it at one of my sponsor locations for a while, just so everybody can check it out. It's one of those things I think people need to see versus just, see a picture. I think they need to see it in person. So we're going to display it, here in a few weeks and let everybody see it for a while. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome,
Adam just said there's 6 spots left for the Festival of Discovery.
Yeah. I think I'm actually going to be cooking with Brent from Slappulator. I'm going to ride up with him. He's having he broke his ribs here in Lakeland. He fell out of his trailer. So he's been having some problems with that. So I'm going to help him out a little bit, and we're going to cook together and have some good time there.
I met him last weekend. He's a nice guy.
He's a great dude, man. He'll bend over backwards and help anybody out that's looking for it. Mm-hmm. He's true barbecue family.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, people don't understand until they get into it, the actual family we have with barbecue.
Yep.
All right, so what's the craziest wing you've ever tried?
Me?
Now, peanut butter and jelly it can't be on the list. We've already talked about peanut butter and jelly. What's a crazy wing?
Oh, I did I tried to do a key lime pie wing once. It didn't do very well. It kind of sucked. Yeah. I found some key lime pie barbecue sauce, and I'm like, okay, we can try this. And we did it, and it was like, nah, that's an epic fail. It wasn't good at all. I mean, I'm sure if we had tried harder to whatever, but it just didn't fit.
Yeah.
So
you said that, what it reminded me of is Matt Barber. So I messed up today and didn't get signed up on the special discovery in time. So Matt Barber stole my spot. I called him up today and told him he stole my spot. Meanie. Anyhow. But he's always got this wild flavor with his little sauces and stuff he makes. So he just said the key lime flavor wings. It just made me think of Matt Barber because he would try that crap.
Well, his Hawaiian sauce is really good. If you've never tried it, it's really sweet, but it works just add some heat to it, and it's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'll just give him a hard time.
He is.
He's been doing well on brisket this year.
Yeah, except this. Oh, didn't he win brisket this weekend?
He's won brisket twice this year so far.
Yeah, but he didn't win it this past weekend, didn't he? Somebody else did.
Yeah, he did. He won it this past weekend.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he's definitely the brisket guy, man. But he's crazy when it comes to that one, man.
Brisket, brisket's like Carrie said, brisket's that hammer.
It is.
Man, you can miss on chicken or ribs or something. Don't miss on brisket because that brings it home.
Well, if I wouldn't have missed, but just a little bit less, I probably would have beat you with that, 0.5 between my fifth and your third.
Yeah. That was a wild scoring contest.
It was very crazy. It was very crazy.
I thought Matt had it, to be honest.
Yeah, so did I. I thought he was going to win it for the third year in a row, and then he didn't even make the top 10.
Yeah. It was wild. And I only heard my name once, and I was like, I guess I was not in the top 10.
Yeah, but even if you don't hear your name, I know you're still there because you're pretty solid. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You're pretty solid too. You have a 600-pound trophy to prove it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to catch another one, man, and I've been short quite a bit lately, but we'll get there.
Yep.
I still keep telling Ryan it's causing me. He's doing good.
Is that what it is? Well, I need to hang out then, so I get better. I got to keep up with the old boy there.
It is EliteBBQ did strike the fire in the train. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, he was down the way from us at the Royal last year. You were what, 3 or 4 spots from us last year?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had a good time.
I
would go back. I've been there twice now, 2 years in a row, and I loved it. It's a lot of fun. I would go back to the Royal, but if I go back to the Royal, I'm gonna go out with a different mindset because I've been there twice with the mindset of being super serious. I'm gonna go back there with get a group of guys, a group of people together, and do all the ancillaries and all the stuff, and just take it for just a good time as a whole.
That's what we did this year.
Is that what y'all did?
Yes, we did. My son came up and his girlfriend and my grandson hung out with us, and we cooked we did all 14 turns. I thought my girlfriend was gonna run me over because she had to turn all them suckers in because we were on the opposite side. I think we had a 5 or 6 minute walk to get to turn in. You're out there too, and we had 14 turn-ins, and we had a blast. I mean, we got to walk the stage, and it was awesome. So
and I think that's what I would do. I'd rent an RV out there, and I am not pulling that rig I got back across the mountains out there for that contest. I might take my small trailer out there, My big one ain't gonna go back out there. But I would rent an RV out there, and I'd get a group of people out there, and let's just have a good time, enjoy it, and do all this other stuff, all these other ancillaries, and just have it. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been thinking about getting a
team
together to do the Memphis in May.
I'm down.
Yeah, I think these contests. I mean, we all know how expensive barbecue is, right? So doing a contest like the Royal by yourself, you can't do Memphis by yourself. You need a team. You know, it gets so expensive. Yeah, his breakfasts are delicious. If you're ever at a contest and you're hungry, go introduce yourself to Kerry Chastain with Hold Your Horse.
Yeah, he does got good food.
But you team up with some guys that and do these big contests, and the fellowship, what you can learn, plus the cost. I mean, it'd probably really benefit you.
Yeah, because Memphis in May is knocking on about $15,000 to the contest.
Yeah, and that's not even setting up your stage or your whole area and any of that stuff. You could drop about 25 or 30 real easy.
Yeah. And for somebody that's doing this as a hobby, that me and I think all of us are doing this kind of a hobby thing, it's kind of hard to swing that bat at that. But you're right, you need a team, but you really need to get a team that's going to be a corporate sponsor style team, or be somebody that's RecTech, or somebody that does it for publicity, like Blue Hogs. You know, Heath Riles, them guys do it for a great opportunity. Cooking. Looking forward to cooking with Robert. So yeah, y'all have a good time. And that's the whole thing about it, is just teaming up with some people and just having a good time about it.
With Smoke Me Silly?
Yes. So they're doing it under the team name Atlanta Barbecue Store Classic, I think, is the team name they're going under.
That's not fair. So, they're too good to team up.
I know, really. I mean, we got the dream team going over here.
Well, I guess Brian's cooking pork, right?
Yeah. Had a good pork weekend.
I don't know. He had a 180 brisket Royal, so he might be doing brisket.
That's true. Maybe he'll do both.
Yeah.
Oh, chewing the barbecue fat. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Chewing the barbecue fat.
Brian's a good guy.
Oh, he's a great person.
Yep.
He's done a lot for barbecue, him and Ellen both, but it's just the camaraderie ship and with the show he has on Monday nights and stuff. He's done great things for barbecue, and I think that's what we are all trying to do, is just work together to kind of help grow each other. And I think that's one of the things we find out with competition is we're not have secrets. We share information because we want them to do better, because we want to not kill the table. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing about it.
I think also, this sport has to grow, and I say that because I think a lot of these backyard teams and a lot of these new teams might have the impression that we won't tell them anything if they come up to us, or we won't be, and that's not true. I think a lot of competitors out there, they don't mind sharing, because at the end of the day, you got to cook it. You gotta be the one that wakes up, gets there, start the fire. You gotta be the one to do it. So we don't mind telling you, and I think that camaraderie and that teaching is going to help grow the sport.
Yeah, and even like this past weekend, we had a lot of people, stopping by our area, because I do everything outside, on the side of the trailer. So I mean, people walking by, they can see what we're doing. As far as if we're doing boxes or whatever, they can see and they can ask questions, and I'll tell them and say, hey, I'm not going to turn around, but I'll answer your question while we're working, and sometimes they even hand out little samples, whatever. And, we had a lot of people around and they enjoyed it because they could ask, well, what are you doing? Or why are you doing that? And you could tell them, and, and it helped bring the public to understand a little better of what we do. It's not that hush, like it's been, 10, 12 years ago where you couldn't get anything from anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole different ballgame now. We'll show you the recipes, we'll show you the boxes, we'll show what we got. But the truth is, you got to learn how to do tenderness.
Yep.
That's something we can tell you, but until you learn tenderness, it's really true. Like, you're not going to come to the next level. When you learn tenderness, like Ryan did and like Bearded Monkeys have done, when you start learning that tenderness game, all of a sudden it's going to put you in a whole nother level, but it's going to take time to learn that.
Yeah. Yeah. Urkel brought up a good point earlier this month when we did the podcast on chewing the fat, and I agree with him. It don't taste right if it ain't tender. It just doesn't have. You can put whatever seasoning you want on it. If it's tough, and it don't taste right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, man, I've said this on the YouTube channel. Said it. Here's the deal: is I can take a tough steak. Excuse me. I can have a flavor can overcome a tender steak if it's not perfect flavor. But if it's tough steak, I can't add nothing to it. It's going to help solve the problem. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to win. But if I've got something that's tender, then the tenderness can overcome flavor, but flavor can't overcome tenderness. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah. And if it ain't right, it ain't right, and it won't be right.
So Brian and Robert, I'm gonna take cameras up there with y'all cooking at Sipping Swine. I'm gonna set some GoPros up, and I'm gonna live stream this, and this is gonna be funny.
I'd pay money to watch that.
Heck yeah, heck yeah.
I'll buy the GoPros.
We do that. That's what we need to do. Create a private group, charge $5 admission, and let everybody watch you and Robert cook together over there, and just a back and forth would be absolutely hilarious to enjoy that.
If Ryan says,
I'm down. Where do I spend my time?
I want to hear Robert say that too.
He's probably like, hell no.
Yeah.
Because Brian's gonna give Robert just the devil, and I need y'all to park right beside Trey and them Smoking Sweet Meats. Y'all need to park beside each other and let them just help you get Robert, and then we're gonna bring in Wes Garrett. I'm gonna put him on the other side of Robert. Somewhere right there. I'm gonna get all y'all right there together, and I'm gonna just do nothing but go around there and film this, and it's gonna be the best thing in the world.
Wow, that would definitely be interesting.
Oh man, we could sell that to Netflix and make money.
Oh man, I mean, seriously, take like, all joking aside, Brian and Robert, right? Two of the greatest guys you're gonna meet in barbecue, and get to follow them around at a competition like Sipping Swine with all that going on. Man, that's worth the money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's gonna have fun. No expectations.
Yeah, right. Whatever. I don't believe that.
Speaking of which, Sipping Swine is full. GBC has got one spot left open. It's on the website on the auction. If you haven't got in, go in there and bid on it. If you don't bid on it, that's fine, because I've got the first bid on there. So if you don't bid on it, it'll be fine. I'll be going to Sipping Swine. But if you want to go get into the contest, seriously, go there and look it out. And there's also got every other contest as part of GBC is also on there. You can go auction it off and get that in. Also, if you want to get opportunity to win a free seat to the GBC class in a couple of weeks, make sure you put your membership in with GBC now before Saturday, because they're going to draw randomly from one of the people, and they'll get a free seat at the barbecue class.
That'd be a good class.
Yeah. And Robert's teaching that class too. Along with Adam Singletary, Jason Singletary, Smoke Central, and Waylon is teaching pork, one Banjo BBQ.
Yeah.
So
I tell you, that's a good lineup right there.
that'd be funny. Waylon, yeah. So it'll be a good class and good opportunity. But seriously, go to GBC website and check it out. I know y'all get me corrected here. And Atlanta Barbecue Store will have on site to sell any products that they need for the class. So if y'all want to if you got stuff that's put an order in now, you can do that, and they'll deliver it to the class, and they'll also be selling on site at the class. So go there because it's going to be a heck of a class. And then we also got the GBC banquet. It's going to follow that for the team of the year and give away the team of the year trophies and stuff. So make sure y'all sign up and check that out.
Keep an eye out. King's BBQ has 2 sauces and 2 rubs coming out. I'll have to send some to you so you can try it out on one of your YouTube podcasts.
Yeah, send it to me. We're always willing to do that. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this peanut butter and jelly chicken wing on a YouTube channel.
We'll get together. I'll hook you up, man. I promise. We'll get together at a comp, and I'll make some, and you'll see. You'll be won over. I promise.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Have you tried different jellies, or just grape or strawberry, or what?
I just use grape jelly. I use regular creamy peanut butter. The kicker is the ratio, and that's where you can get in there and make the difference on it. You know, more jelly is more sweet, more peanut butter has got that more, peanut buttery upfront taste. But in the end, it's all the hot sauce on the back end, because you should go through all 3 flavors or all 3 layers of that sauce to the end, versus like barbecue, you don't want all the other stuff. But this one here, you want all 3 flavors to hit. And then, the hotter you can get it on the back end, the more it complements the sweet in the middle. It works, man. It's very balanced.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I'm sitting here trying to get my damn mind twist. I'm thinking about peanut butter and chocolate now for wings.
Yeah, and it actually looks, when it's all mixed, it almost looks like a lighter chocolate, like a milky chocolate. But it's like, it doesn't look like peanut butter. It doesn't look like jelly. It looks like chocolate, but it actually, it's there. And the secret to it is you got to have it warm, to go. And when it's warm, it'll do well, versus, if it's on room temperature, it won't spread as well. It gets real clumpy. So, it's got to be nice and warm, and it's great. It coats well, and it's fun.
Cool. So Ryan, you say you got some sauces and stuff going to be dropping here in a little while. So what's
we got probably this month we'll have King's BBQ sweet rib tickler and sweet and smoky competition sauce coming out. And then most likely next month, we're going to have the King of the butt rub and King of the beef rub coming out. So look for that. Yeah, a lot of good thumbs up from this past weekend. A lot of competitors tasted it. So we're excited about it, and we'll see it.
Sounds awesome. Man, that's gonna be
Heck, I might have to bottle this PBJ sauce.
That's not a bad idea. My mother. So I on my food truck, I make my coleslaw dressing, and my mother, of all people, looked at me and said, "I don't like your coleslaw dressing. You need to work on it." My mother told me this. And I'm like, "Mom, everybody loves my dressing." So I'm going to get Jim Elser to co-pack me a coleslaw dressing. And I'm going to name it Mama's Favorite Coleslaw Dressing.
Hey, I got some you can try. I'm serious.
I make great coleslaw dressing.
I know you do. But if you don't like it, I got one you can try and let her taste it.
Yeah. Well, then I'll be worried she'll like yours, and I'll have to package it.
Yeah, I got you.
So let me tell you a little story about coleslaw. So SCBA, this is probably 8 or 9 years ago, was doing an SCBA contest, and they had to do the anything but on Friday nights. It's mandatory. Okay, you had to do it. And I try to tell the guys, man, I got no desire to do this. I don't want to go spend $50 to do something other. I know I'm not going to win contest. I got no desire to mess with it. He says, you have to do it. And I kept talking. He wouldn't let me get out of it. So I said, all right, fine. So I went to the Walmart or grocery store. I bought shredded cabbage. I come back. I put it in a bowl. I took some Tennessee Red style barbecue sauce. I poured over top of it, and that was my anything but turn in that night. That guy got so mad at me. I'm talking, he was just mad because it was simple. Crazy part about it, I got third place in anything but contest. That is no lie. I think that guy still got me banned for coming back to that contest.
That actually sounds good. Put that on some pulled pork or some chicken. That'd be real good.
Oh, dude. I'm telling you something right now. A little bit of that Tennessee Carolina vinegar, a little red sauce, put that on some coleslaw with some pulled pork sandwiches.
Yes, sir.
You'd be slapping your mama, Ryan.
I wouldn't suggest that, but you can.
That was really good, man. I love that. I love coleslaw like that though. I don't like I don't know. I like a coleslaw. I can take the cabbage into it. If it's got a lot of mayonnaise and stuff into it, there's Marion Fried Chicken's got one right now. You can take that out of it and make a tomato sandwich out of it. So much mayonnaise in it. I like that tanginess of the vinegar sauce to it. But
now I'm hungry, man. Why do you want to do that? It's late.
I gotta go eat now.
Hey, that's the way it works, man.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, it's been on here about an hour, so I know y'all got other things to do here. Y'all want to speak about your sponsors here before the night's over here?
Atlanta Barbecue Store, and then I work with another small store called Premier Gas and Grill over in Green Cove. They're about 15 minutes from the house, but Atlanta Barbecue Store, they're a great sponsor. Go there to get all your barbecue supplies. They'll hook you up. Brian and Ellen, they're great.
Very good people.
So how about you? I just want to say thanks for letting me be on the show for PBJ.
I need to get you on here for the full show. I need to get the whole history behind you sometime.
We can do that. But I do want to say thanks. But I want to give a shout out to Whiskey Band Barbecue. That's where I get all my the monkey supplies, and then of course I just got picked up by Voodoo Chef, so you got to check it out, especially the Zing. That's the best ranch you're ever gonna get. Makes awesome coleslaw dressing. I'll bring you some. And then Heavy Smoke Barbecue, Flame Boss, all them guys take care of us, week in and week out, and we really, really appreciate them.
Yeah, good people.
I appreciate you, Jason Hardy.
Hey, I enjoy doing this. Give a shout out to mine, and we call it a night. We got Atlanta Barbecue Store, great place, and to get that out. Royal Oak Charcoal, best charcoal on the market, period. Rec Tech, we got Heath Riles. Appreciate y'all watching. See y'all next time.
Have a good one. Bye.